I chose to do my industry screencast on nonprofit organizations. So nonprofit organizations are organizations that are formed to provide public benefits and are defined by a wide range of organizations, such as grant-making foundations, giving services, advocacy organizations, social organizations, universities, hospitals, and the list goes on. There's over 63,000 different organizations in the United States that are defined as 501c3 organizations, which is the tax-deductible code for nonprofits. And they serve the purpose of helping the public in areas of religion, charity, science, literacy, and education. One of the main key skill or competencies required for nonprofit work is a willingness to wear many hats in an organization. This is because often nonprofits are short-staffed and individuals have to be able to be creative and complete multiple different job requirements. Some of the main key skills that are required in an organization are fundraising skills, as this is how nonprofits function and gain their revenue. Community engagement skills, they need to understand different communities and also manage their relationships, and then also organizational skills, so the ability to recruit volunteers and coordinate them, as this often determines a lot of their staff. So for employment work, outlook for nonprofits is really dependent on fundraising. So fundraising basically defines revenue from year to year. So contributions will shrink in difficult economic times and expand. Based on the economy, there's a significance of the growing population of seniors in America, as older people are a much larger part of the donor base, and many Americans over 65 are just the fastest growing segment of the population. So donations are expected to increase, which affects the fact that nonprofits are expected to grow at an annual rate of 4% from 2018 to 22. So there's a large chance of a growth in the employment sector of nonprofits. Next, the technological development involved in nonprofit work. So there's been a lot of emphasis on data collection, both in analysis of databases of donors and also in the increasing focus on evaluation, which donors often look at to determine success of the nonprofit organizations. Another huge change in technology has been the increase in online giving as a critical part of fundraising, which also requires a lot of data security. And finally, the use of social media and marketing to recruit staff and volunteers is really important, and also to get their name out in the community for individuals to receive their services. One of the defining factors of nonprofit work is that it is very precarious. There's a lot of concern for work-life balance and also an insufficient lifelong earning potential. And this leads to a lot of high staff turnover. And most nonprofit expenditures are on labor costs or paying their staff, meaning that organizations are often fundraising for their salaries. I've been interviewing executive directors of nonprofits in my class, Philanthropy and Social Problem Solving, and all three of the four that we've interviewed have said that if they received any extra money, they would be paying their staff with it. Finally, nonprofits are affected by globalization and environmental factors. Globalization, they often have to address challenges of international crises like famine and natural disasters, and they also play a large role in achieving the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Also, environmentally, they have to gain the public's trust. They're really affected by social understanding of their work and also the political climate. Again, in my class, where we've been interviewing a lot of organizations that work with immigrants, and this population has a lack of federal and state money at this time. And also in the media, you would see that the picture here, Stand Up with Planned Parenthood, has been an issue over the past few years in the current political climate, as there's kind of been a defunding of different issues based on political values and beliefs. Finally, a few tools for learning. The first one is from First Research, which many of us use for our research screencast. They provide a section on nonprofit latest news. Second, Giving Matters is an awesome site for looking at specifics of individual nonprofits. So being able to see their current programs, their staff and board members, and their fundraising and finances. And finally, the Center for Nonprofit Management is a great resource to look at nonprofits in Nashville and Middle Tennessee, as they are an organization that really impacts those are nonprofits in this area and also consults for them. And finally, here's my list of resources, including some of my classes and processes of my own.